Commander He-jun sat in his office at the Galactic Security Council space station. It was a normal day until his communication screen lit up with a red emergency signal. He touched the screen, and his heart almost stopped when he read the message. Urgent alert. Unauthorized capture operation on Earth. 3 human children taken. He-jun had worked with many alien species during his 15 years as Earth's representative, but this news made his hands shake. Everyone in the galaxy knew one basic rule: you do not mess with human children. Ever. He quickly opened the detailed report. The kidnapping happened at the Korean Advanced Science Institute. 3 children were taken: Young Mai, age 8, Tai-ho, age 10, and Jae-yun, age 7. They were the children of 2 famous scientists, Dr. Sung-min and Dr. Yun-ji. The security cameras showed everything. The children were playing in the institute's indoor garden while their parents worked nearby. A shimmer in the air was the only warning before a Kyrathi ship appeared. The Kyrathi were new to the galactic community. They looked like tall, blue humanoids with 4 arms and silver eyes. 2 Kyrathi stepped out of their ship. They wore simple spacesuits and carried strange devices. The children, instead of running away in fear, looked at the aliens with curiosity. Young Me, the middle child, even waved at them. "Hello, are you friends of our parents?" Young Me asked in English. She stepped forward, protecting her younger sister Jae-yun behind her. The Kyrathi didn't answer. They pointed their devices at the children. A blue light shot out, and the children fell asleep instantly. The aliens picked them up carefully with their 4 arms and carried them to their ship. Dr. Sung-min and Dr. Yun-ji ran into the garden just as the ship disappeared. The look on their faces made the security camera shake, not from fear, but from pure anger. He-jun watched the recording 3 times. He noticed something others might miss. Just before falling asleep, Young Mei pressed something on her wrist. It looked like a simple child's watch, but He-jun knew better. The scientists at the institute never wore or carried anything simple. He turned to his second screen and called Ambassador Rixtal. If anyone knew how to handle this disaster, it would be the old Centaurian diplomat. The ambassador's face appeared on screen, looking like a gentle orange cat with 3 eyes. "Commander He-jun," Rixtal said, "I already know why you're calling. The Kyrathi just made the biggest mistake in their species' history. They took the children of our leading quantum physicists," He-jun said. "Did they not read any of our warning files?" Rixtal shook his head. "They're new, overconfident. They think, because they have better spaceships and weapons, they're superior. They don't understand that humans are from a death world. They don't know what that means." "Should we tell them about the parents?" He-jun asked. "About how Dr. Sung-min and Dr. Yun-ji aren't just quantum physicists. About their military background. About the special training all human children in research facilities receive." Rixtal's middle eye blinked. "No, let them learn the hard way, like others did before them." He-jun's screen blinked again. This time it showed Dr. Sung-min and Dr. Yun-ji. They looked calm, too calm. He-jun had seen this look before, on other human parents when their children were in danger. It was the calm before a storm. "Commander," Dr. Sung-min said, "we're activating Protocol Delta." He-jun's eyes widened. Protocol Delta was the hidden defense program that even most humans didn't know about. He looked at their faces again and almost felt sorry for the Kyrathi. Almost. After all, they should have read the warning files. Rule number 1 in the galaxy: never, ever take human children. The Kyrathi were about to learn this lesson the hard way. Ambassador Rixtal walked slowly through the grand halls of the Galactic Council building. His orange fur seemed to glow under the soft lights as he made his way to the emergency meeting room. Behind him, 2 assistants carried old data tablets containing historical records. The Kyrathi representatives were already waiting. They sat tall in their chairs, all 4 arms folded across their chests. Their blue skin and silver eyes made them look cold and distant. Their leader, Chief Diplomat Max, smiled at Rick Stahl. It was not a friendly smile. "Ambassador," Max said, "we do not understand why you called this emergency meeting. We simply borrowed some test subjects. We will return them once our research is complete." Rick Stahl's three eyes blinked slowly. He touched one of the data tablets and connected it to the room's main screen. "Let me tell you a story, Chief Diplomat. 15 years ago, another species called the Orcs took 2 human children for research. Would you like to know what happened to them?" The screen showed images of destroyed ships and an entire space station broken in half. The Kyrethi's silver eyes widened slightly. "The human parents found their children in 3 days," Rick Stahl continued. "The Orcs do not exist anymore. Not because humans killed them all, but because their species lost so much that they gave up space travel completely. They went back to their home planet and never left again." "That was 15 years ago," Max said. "Our technology is much better now. The humans cannot reach us." Rick Stahl touched the second tablet. 10 years ago, the Pelax took 1 human child. Just 1. They thought their hidden base in a gas giant would protect them." He showed new images. A gas giant planet with a massive storm on its surface. The human mother was a weather scientist. She learned how to control the planet's storms in 2 days. The Pelax base was destroyed by winds stronger than anything they had ever seen. Chief Diplomat Max shifted in his seat. His lower arms gripped his chair tightly. "These are just stories. We are different. We took important children. Their parents are just scientists who study quantum physics. What can they do against our warships?" Ambassador Rick Stahl's middle eye closed, a sign of deep sadness for his species. "You did not read the warning files, did you? All human children are precious to them, but you took the wrong ones. Dr. Sung Min and Dr. Yunji are not just scientists. They have other skills. Dark skills." He played one last video. It showed Dr. Sung Min and Dr. Yunji in their younger days, wearing military uniforms. They moved through an obstacle course, solving complex puzzles while fighting off attackers. Their movements were perfect, efficient, deadly. They were part of Earth's special forces before they became scientists, Rick Stahl explained. "And their children, those test subjects you took, they have been trained since birth, not to fight, but to survive, to think, to escape. Human children are not like our young. They are curious, clever, and very, very good at causing trouble." The room grew quiet. One of the Kyrethi assistants dropped a data pad. The sound echoed like thunder. "You have 6 hours," Rick Stahl said. "Return the children unharmed, and we might be able to prevent what's coming. After that," he touched his chest, where his species kept their heart. "After that, I cannot help you. No one can." Chief Diplomat Max stood up suddenly. "We do not take orders from." A red light flashed on all screens. A message appeared. "Warning. Human vessel detected leaving Earth's atmosphere. Energy signature unknown. Speed exceeding known possibilities." Rick Stahl walked toward the door. He stopped and looked back at the now worried Kyrethi. "They are coming. The only question is, will you be wise enough to save yourselves?" The warning lights continued to flash as Rick Stahl left the room. In the quiet halls, he whispered an old Centaurian prayer, not for the human children. They would be fine. He prayed for the Kyrethi, who were about to learn why every species in the galaxy lived in fear of angry human parents. Dr. Sung Min stood in front of a large metal door deep under the Korean Advanced Science Institute. His wife, Dr. Yunji, placed her hand on the security scanner next to the door. Their faces showed no emotion, but their eyes burned with determination. "Identity confirmed," the computer said. "Welcome, project leaders." The door opened slowly, revealing a massive underground chamber. Inside was not the quantum physics lab everyone thought they had. Instead, a sleek spacecraft sat in the center, its black surface absorbing light like a shadow. How long has it been since we were in the field? Dr. Yunji asked, walking toward a wall of equipment. 8 years, 3 months, and 14 days, Dr. Sungmin replied. He pressed a button, and part of the wall opened to show combat suits. Not that I've been counting. They changed quickly into the black suits. The material was light but stronger than steel. As they put on the suits, their movements changed. They no longer walked like scientists. They moved like hunters. A screen on the wall lit up. Commander Kita's face appeared. He was the leader of Earth's Special Forces and an old friend. I heard about the children, Kita said. The team is ready. Dr. Yu Jin is coming too. Dr. Yu Jin appeared on another screen. She was Earth's best xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life. Those Kyrethi made 3 big mistakes, she said. First, they took human children. Second, they took your children. Third, they didn't realize those children are smarter than most adult aliens. Dr. Yunji walked to a computer and started typing quickly. Young Mai activated her emergency beacon before they took her. She's such a good girl. A mother's pride mixed with worry in her voice. The signal shows they're heading toward the Proxima Centauri system. The quantum drive is ready, Dr. Sungmin said. He touched a panel on the ship's side, and a door opened. We built this ship to explore space peacefully. But today, he picked up what looked like a simple metal rod. When he pressed a button, the rod extended into a weapon that hummed with energy. Commander Kita and his team arrived through a tunnel. They wore similar black suits and carried advanced weapons. Dr. Yu Jin came last, carrying cases of scientific equipment. The Kyrethi think they're so advanced, Dr. Yu Jin said as she boarded the ship. They don't know that humans have been preparing for space combat for decades. We just kept it secret. Dr. Yunji sat in the pilot's seat. The ship's controls lit up under her hands. This ship uses quantum mechanics to bend space. We can travel faster than any alien ship. We built it to study the stars. She started the engine, which made no sound at all. Now we'll use it to get our children back. The chamber's ceiling opened slowly, revealing the night sky above. Stars twinkled peacefully, unaware of what was about to happen. Commander Hejun sent a message, Kita said, checking his screen. The Kyrethi refuse to return the children. They think they're safe because they have better technology. He smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. They don't know about this ship. They don't know about us. Dr. Sungmin looked at a photo of their children displayed on a small screen. Young Mei, Ta-ho, and Jai-yun smiled back at him. We spent years pretending to be simple scientists, he said quietly. We wanted our children to have a normal life, but we also trained them to be ready for anything. Those aliens think they took helpless children, Dr. Yunji said as the ship lifted off. They're about to learn that human children are never helpless, and human parents. The ship shot into space, moving so fast it seemed to disappear. We are unstoppable when our children are in danger. The Kyrethi ship floated in deep space. Inside, Chief Diplomat Max watched the 3 human children through a glass wall. They sat quietly in a comfortable room filled with toys and books from various planets. Too quietly. Something is wrong, his assistant said. The data says human children are usually very active. These ones just sit there. Max looked closer. The oldest boy, Tai-ho, was reading a book about ship engineering. The youngest, Jai-yun, appeared to be sleeping, but her eyes moved slightly under her closed lids, like she was memorizing something. The middle child, Young Me, played with her digital watch, turning it over and over in her hands. Send the message to Earth, Max ordered. Tell them we want their quantum technology in exchange for the children. The ship's communication screen lit up immediately. Instead of scared parents, they saw Commander Hejun's calm face. The children's parents wish to speak with you, he said. Dr. Sungmin and Dr. Yunji appeared on the screen. They wore simple white lab coats and looked perfectly calm. Too calm. We understand you're interested in our research. Dr. Sungmin said politely. We would have happily shared our public papers if you had asked. Max stood straighter, all four arms crossed. We don't want public research. We want your secret quantum drive technology. We know you have it. And you thought taking our children was the best way to get it. Dr. Yunji asked. Her voice was soft, but her eyes were hard like steel. That was not a wise decision. In the children's room, young Mai raised her hand like she was in school. Mr. Alien, sir, can I talk to my parents? I promise I won't say anything about your ship or where we are. Max thought for a moment. Letting the child speak might make the parents more willing to cooperate. You may speak briefly, he said. Young Mi walked to the screen, still playing with her watch. Mom, Dad, don't worry. We're being good. The ship's engines make a funny sound, like hum or click every 3.2 seconds. The stars outside are pretty, especially that blue one with 3 small moons. And Jai-yun only had to go to the bathroom 4 times since we got here. Dr. Sungmin smiled slightly. Thank you, sweetheart. Are you keeping count of everything like we taught you? Yes, Dad. I counted 257 steps from our room to the engine room when they took us on a tour. The ceiling gets 2.3 meters lower near the escape pods. Oh, and their backup power system is in section G7, just like in your old spaceship designs. Max's silver eyes widened. He pressed a button to cut off the transmission. Take that watch from her. Search them for any other devices. But young Maid was smiling now. She held up her watch. It's just a normal watch, see? It doesn't even work anymore. But Mom and Dad always said to pay attention to everything around us. It's like a game we play. The assistant checked the watch. It was indeed just a simple digital watch with a dead battery. But Max felt cold suddenly. He looked at the 3 children again. Taiho had finished the engineering book and started another one about ship safety protocols. Jai-yun was now awake, whispering numbers to herself, like she was counting something. Young Mai sat back down, still smiling that strange smile. Sir, a crew member called from the bridge. We detected an energy spike near the 3rd moon, but it vanished before we could identify it. Max looked at the children, then at his crew. For the first time, he felt afraid. Not of the parents chasing them. No human ship could catch them. No, he was afraid because he finally understood what Ambassador Rixtal meant. These were not ordinary children, and that had not been an ordinary conversation with their parents. Something was very wrong, but he couldn't figure out what. In the children's room, young Mai winked at her siblings. The message had been sent, hidden in her careful words. Now they just had to wait. And cause a little trouble, of course, just like their parents had taught them. Commander Kita stood at the command center of the human ship Silent Storm. His eyes were fixed on the tracking screen where a small dot showed the Kyrathi vessel's location. Dr. Sungmin and Dr. Yunji sat at their control stations, their hands moving quickly over the glowing panels. They're changing course again, Dr. Yunji said calmly, heading toward the Rigel system. They think their ship is faster than anything in the galaxy. She pressed a few buttons, and their quantum drive hummed quietly. They're wrong. Dr. Yujin looked up from her science station. The Kyrathi ship is leaving energy traces in space. They're pushing their engines too hard. They're scared. Through the main window, stars streaked by like lines of light. The Silent Storm moved through space in a way no other ship could. Instead of pushing through space, it folded space itself, making shortcuts where none existed before. Ambassador Rixtal's face appeared on a side screen. His orange fur looked messy, like he hadn't slept. 3 more alien species just broke trade deals with the Kyrathi, he said. No one wants to be connected to them now. Taking human children. He shook his head. The galaxy is watching this chase with great interest. Commander Kita nodded. Good. They should watch. They should learn. He turned to his tactical screen. The Kyrathi have passed through 3 star systems trying to lose us, but they don't understand what we can do. Dr. Sung Min checked a message on his screen and smiled slightly. Young Mi's coded message was perfect. The Kyrethi ship has a weak spot in their engine cooling system. She counted the engine sounds and figured it out. Pride filled his voice. That's my girl. The ship's computer beeped softly. Kyrethi vessel attempting to communicate, it announced. Chief Diplomat Max's face appeared on the main screen. His silver eyes were wide with disbelief. Impossible. How are you following us? Our engines are the most advanced in the galaxy. We're the most advanced, Dr. Yunji corrected him. Things change. Usually, we keep our technology secret, but you took our children. Now you get to see what humans can really do. The silent storm jumped forward suddenly, appearing right next to the Kyrethi ship. Max's face showed real fear now. Stay back. We still have the children. Dr. Yu Jin spoke up. Your ship's engine is overheating. I can see the radiation patterns. You pushed it too hard trying to escape. In about 10 minutes, you'll have to slow down or risk an explosion. Max looked at something off-screen, then back at them. This is impossible. You're just scientists. Your ship shouldn't be able to do this. Commander Kita stepped forward. You made 3 mistakes. First, you believed what we wanted you to believe about our technology. Second, you took children from parents who used to be military specialists. But your biggest mistake, he pointed to a flashing light on the Kyrethi ship. You let those children walk around your ship. They've been causing trouble since you took them. As if to prove his point, the lights on the Kyrethi ship flickered. Max looked away from the screen, shouting orders to his crew. Dr. Sung Min and Dr. Yunji shared a knowing look. Their children were not just sitting quietly and waiting to be rescued. They were fighting back in their own way. One more jump, Dr. Yunji said, her hands moving over the controls. The children are clever, but the Kyrethi might get desperate. It's time to end this chase. The silent storm's quantum drive powered up again. In the distance, the stars of the Proxima Centauri system shined brightly. The final confrontation was about to begin. Inside the Kyrethi ship, Young Mei pressed her ear against the maintenance duct wall. She could hear the aliens running around outside, trying to fix all the problems she and her siblings had created. The small space inside the wall was dusty, but it made a perfect hiding place. Taiho, she whispered to her older brother, did you finish with the cooling system? Taiho nodded in the dim light. The engineering book he had read earlier sat next to him, its pages marked with his notes. I loosened the connections just like in the safety manual. Not enough to break anything, but enough to make them worry. He smiled proudly. The book showed all the important parts with warning signs. It was very helpful. Little Jai-yun sat between them, her eyes closed as she drew a map in the dust with her finger. Left turn in 3 meters, then up 2 levels, then right for 7 meters to reach the backup power room, she said quietly. Her perfect memory had turned the entire ship into a puzzle she could solve. Young Mi checked her regular watch, which now worked perfectly fine. She had only pretended it was broken earlier. The engine will make the funny noise again in 5 seconds. They waited, and right on time. The sound came. Humware click. The cooling system is getting worse. They'll have to stop soon. A voice echoed through the ship's speakers. Where are they? Find those children immediately. It was Chief Diplomat Max, and he sounded very worried. Jai-yun opened her eyes. They've checked this section 3 times already. They never look inside the walls because they think we're too small to climb in here. She giggled softly. They don't know about the practice maze at home. Their parents had built a training course in their basement, calling it a fun playroom. Now the children understood why they had spent so many hours crawling through tight spaces and solving puzzles while timing themselves. The ship's computer is funny, Taiho said as he checked a small panel he had opened. It thinks everything is fine because the aliens only check the main systems. They never look at the small things. He pointed to some wires. See, just like Dad's old computer. If you switch these around. The lights in the entire ship flickered again. They heard more aliens running, their 4 feet making strange patterns on the floor above. Young Mei pulled out a small notebook where she had been writing numbers. Mom and Dad are following us. I saw their ship through the window earlier. It looks just like the models they used to draw. She showed her siblings her notes. The alien's engine is getting hotter every time it makes the funny noise. Soon they'll have to stop. I'm hungry, Jia-yun said suddenly. She pulled a food bar from her pocket. Good thing I grabbed these from the kitchen when they weren't looking. She broke it into 3 pieces and shared it with her siblings. Taiho looked at the panel again. Should we cause more trouble? Dad always says that when you're in a bad situation, keep making problems for the other side. Young Mai thought for a moment. Let's wait a little bit. Mom and Dad are close now. I can feel it. She touched the wall of their hiding place. The ship's engine vibration changed. The aliens are scared. They should be, Jia-yun said, finishing her piece of the food bar. Mom gets really mad when we're late for dinner. And we've missed 2 dinners now. The children shared a knowing look. They had done their part, causing confusion and problems all over the ship. Now they just had to wait for their parents to arrive. The aliens were about to learn another important lesson. Human children were never as helpless as they seemed. The Kyrethi ship floated helplessly in space near Proxima Centauri. Its engines had finally overheated, forcing them to stop. The silent storm approached slowly, its black surface reflecting the starlight. Dr. Eugene studied her screens carefully. Their ship's gravity is set to their home world standard, she reported. It's only half of Earth's gravity. She smiled at Dr. Sungmin and Dr. Yunji. That will make things easier for us. Commander Kita checked his tactical display. Their weapons are powered down. The engine problems the children caused affected their whole power system. He turned to his team. Remember your training. In low gravity, control your movements. Don't bounce off the walls like amateur space tourists. Dr. Sungmin and Dr. Yunji stood ready in their combat suits. They looked different now. Gone were the quiet scientists. In their place stood 2 warriors prepared to recover their children. Their air is safe for us to breathe, Dr. Eugene said. But their bodies are softer than ours. Be careful not to hurt them too badly. We don't want to cause a diplomatic incident. The silent storm moved into position above the Kyrethi ship. Chief Diplomat Max's face appeared on their screen one last time. Wait, we can still make a deal. The time for deals is over, Dr. Yunji said calmly. We're coming to get our children. Please don't resist. It will only make things worse for you. The rescue team gathered at the airlock. Commander Kita's soldiers checked their non-lethal weapons. Dr. Eugene prepared her medical kit, just in case. The parents stood at the front, ready to board. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. The team moved through the connection tunnel between the ships. Inside the Kyrethi vessel, they found chaos. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Crew members ran around trying to fix systems that kept failing in strange ways. The children have been busy, Dr. Sungmin said proudly. In the low gravity, the team moved quickly but carefully through the corridors. Years of training made it easy for them. They found Chief Diplomat Max and several guards waiting in a large room. Stop there, Max ordered, his 4 arms raised. The children are safe in their room. Just give us the quantum drive technology, and this can end peacefully. Suddenly, all the lights went out. In the darkness, they heard a young voice through the ship's speakers. Now, Mom. Dad. Section G7, just like I told you. Young Mi's voice guided them. The rescue team moved through the darkness with ease. The Kyrethi, with their silver eyes designed for bright light, stumbled around confused. Dr. Sungmin and Dr. Yunji led the way to Section G7. They found their children not in their room, but hiding in the maintenance ducts, just as they had been trained to do in emergency situations. Mom. Dad. The children crawled out of their hiding place. In the low gravity, Jia-yun floated right into her mother's arms. Taiho and Young Mei pushed off the wall gracefully, showing they remembered their zero-gravity training. Did we do good? Yumma asked, hugging her father. We remembered everything you taught us. You did perfect, Dr. Sung-min said, checking them for injuries. Using their own safety manual against them was very clever. Commander Kite's team had already secured the Kyrethi crew without any violence. The aliens surrendered quickly, finally understanding how badly they had underestimated both human parents and their children. Time to go home, Dr. Yunji said, carrying Jai-yun. I think these aliens have learned their lesson about taking human children. As they walked back to their ship, Taiho looked up at his parents. Can we still have pizza night this weekend? We're only 2 days late for it. The parents laughed, the tension finally breaking. Their children were safe, and the galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate humans, especially when it comes to protecting their young. The Great Hall of the Galactic Security Council was completely silent. Representatives from hundreds of alien species sat in their seats, watching as Commander Hejun addressed them. Behind him, images showed the Kyrethi ship being escorted back to their home system. Today, we establish new laws, Hejun said firmly. The first and most important, no species may interfere with human children. Ever. His voice carried through the huge room. The consequences will be severe. Ambassador Rixtal stood next to him, his orange fur neatly groomed again. The Kyrethi have surrendered all rights to deep space travel for the next 50 years, he announced. They will be confined to their own solar system until they learn to respect other species. In the front row, Dr. Sung-min and Dr. Yunji sat in formal clothes, looking once again like simple scientists. Their children sat between them, wearing their best clothes and trying to sit still. Yummi played with her watch, which now had several alien diplomats nervously watching her every move. Chief Diplomat Max stood before the council, his silver eyes down. We apologize to the humans, especially to the children and their parents. We were wrong. We thought humans were behind other species in technology and culture. He looked at the family. We learned that humans simply hide their true capabilities. They are far more advanced than we knew. The council leader, a tall being made of shifting crystals, spoke in a musical voice. Dr. Sung-min, Dr. Yunji, please step forward with your children. The family walked to the center of the hall. Taiho tried to fix his tie, while Jai-yun held tight to her mother's hand. Young-mai looked around with bright, curious eyes, probably counting how many steps it took to reach the center. Your actions have shown the galaxy 2 things, the council leader said. First, that humans will protect their children at any cost. Second, that even human children are remarkably capable. The crystal being's light pulsed warmly. We would be honored if Earth would take a permanent seat on the Galactic Security Council. We need your wisdom. Dr. Sung-min and Dr. Yunji bowed slightly. We accept, Dr. Yunji said, but we have one condition. The galaxy must understand that humans come in peace. We don't want war or conflict. We only want to explore and learn. Unless someone takes our kids, Dr. Sung-min added with a small smile. Several alien representatives nervously shifted in their seats. Young Mai raised her hand, just like she had done on the Kyrethi ship. The council leader nodded at her. Yes, young one. Does this mean we can learn about alien science now? She asked excitedly. Their engineering books were really interesting. The crystal being's light sparkled with amusement. Perhaps we are the ones who need to learn from you. Later that evening, the family sat in their kitchen back on Earth. They were having their delayed pizza night, with 3 large pizzas on the table. Mom, Jai-yun asked, taking a big bite, can we still pretend to be normal? Dr. Yunji smiled. Of course, we'll just be normal humans who happen to have some interesting jobs. And who occasionally have to remind the galaxy not to mess with Earth's children, Dr. Sung-min added, reaching for another slice. Commander Hejun's words now hung in every alien embassy and spaceship in the galaxy. Human children are not to be touched. This is not a law. This is a warning. Ask the Kyrethi why. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, alien parents told their children a new bedtime story. It was about three brave human children who outsmarted an entire alien ship, and their unstoppable parents who crossed the stars to bring them home.